Mixing money earned from your business account with your personal account may seem like the easy route to go, but in reality, it's actually the worst route to go. In fact, when you mix your business account and funds with your personal account and funds, you are headed towards some serious risks. Hi there, if you're new here, my name is Paige. I am the owner and lead attorney behind the legal Page. I help small business owners get legally legit in no time without breaking into hives. If easy and simple legal tips are just what you need, please subscribe to my channel. All right, let's skip any potential risk for your business by not mixing your business funds with your personal funds. Instead, you're going to open a business bank account. So first, I want to talk about why you should have a business bank account because many people don't really understand it. First and foremost, it's because you don't want to do what's called co-mingling funds. This is especially important if you are a limited liability company because you have to separate your business assets from your personal assets, or you're doing what's called breaking and piercing the corporate veil. So you have to keep those two separate. Also, co-mingling funds is just not good all around, whether you're an LLC, a sole proprietor, or a C corporation, because you absolutely want to keep your business assets and income and expenses separate from your personal ones. The second reason is a business bank account helps relieve stress at tax time. You obviously get tax breaks and tax deductions for expenses for your business. So you want to have a clean record of that. And it's easy to account for when you have a very separate business bank account. And the third reason is that it covers you in the case of fraud. So if a check goes missing or money is stolen from your business bank account, you have less personal liability towards that. And it's easier to track when you have a separate business bank account. It's really important that you don't put your personal assets at risk if fraud ever occurs with just a business account. So what should you look for when signing up for a bank account? First, fees and requirements. So many banking institutions have a minimum amount to deposit into an account when you first create one. This is for checkings and savings accounts for your business, and a minimum balance that you have to maintain. Now, some of you may not have $1,000 that you can just first deposit to open a business checking account. So this is definitely something you want to consider and factor into when searching for a bank to open a business checking account with. Lots of them do have really low minimum deposits and low minimum balances, and those are the ones that you're going to want to go with. Anywhere from about $50 to $100 is something you can definitely get from a banking institution. Another thing to look at is what type of fees do they have connected to their business checking or business savings accounts. So banking institutions oftentimes initiate monthly fees anywhere from about $5 to $30 per month. But a lot of banks also waive this fee if you do keep that minimum balance that we talked about previously in that account. So again, a good factor to consider. Next is introductory offers. So this is always a good thing for small business owners who would like a little extra cash for selecting a bank to bank with. And lots of larger banks like Chase or Bank of America oftentimes offer an actual credit or an actual cash amount that they would put into your account if you maintain a certain minimum balance with them over, say, the first 3 months of banking with them. Now, you can also choose to go with local or smaller banks in your area, and they do have introductory offers, but usually they're not as good as kind of the cash offers from these larger banks. However, sometimes your local and small banks in your region will offer much lower minimum balances. So you have to weigh those two. Be sure to also make sure that the bank institution is user-friendly. First thing is make sure it has a mobile app so that you can access your account and make deposits or withdrawals or transfers from their mobile app when you're using your smartphone on the go. If you do travel for your business, it's important as well that you can deposit and withdraw money from anywhere that you may be. Now, local and small banks oftentimes have really high fees to do this, or you might not be able to find a sister bank or a bank for that matter at all that you could do this at if, say, you're traveling out of state or out of the country. This is why sometimes nationwide banking institutions are the way to go for small business owners who travel. And finally, options for loans and insurance accounts. So, if you are interested in getting a business loan or you want to look at insurance options, oftentimes banks offer incentives for their business clients who bank with them to do that. And oftentimes it's even easier to get a small business loan through the bank that you already have a checking and savings account with. So, make sure you check with that if this is a route that you want to take. Now, I'm sure you're wondering at this point, Paige, what is the best business bank account that you would recommend? So first and foremost, I always just suggest that you check into business checking and savings accounts with the bank that you are already connected with for your personal banking purposes. This is because it's easier to do transfers in and out of the exact same bank, and usually it can happen immediately instead of waiting a day if, say, you were banking at two different institutions. Next, look at local and small credit unions. Oftentimes, they are just easier to work with if something were to happen. They're easier to get debit and credit cards through. And all around, I just really like working with my local small credit union. But of course, there are downfalls to doing that, which we talked about. So in this case, I definitely suggest that you look into nationwide banks such as Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America are good ones to start with. If you're appreciating this content, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I love giving out free legal tips, and that's what this channel is all about. All right, now let's get into the different types of bank accounts that you will need for your business. First and foremost, you're going to need an operating account, or this is usually just called a business checking account. Now, in this checking account, you're going to do the very simple thing, which is making all of those big cha-ching daily moments coming in and out of your business bank account for all of your business expenses, and then all of your payments from your clients or your customers are coming into that account as well. You will most likely also have a debit card associated with this checking account. Next, you want to open up a business savings account, a business high yield savings account, or a money market account. Now, to decide between the three of those, you want to ask your banking institution what are the interest rates associated with each of those accounts and any minimum balances so that you can make the right choice for your business. I always tend to go with high yield savings accounts for my business because they oftentimes yield a higher interest rate. Good ones to look at are Axos, Ally, Capital One 360, and Synchrony. All of these high yield savings accounts institutions that I just mentioned are FDIC insured up to $250,000. So that's really important. You want to make sure that all of your money sitting in those high yield savings accounts are insured. Also, just be aware that the starting rate for a APR is probably going to fluctuate quite a bit and in accordance with the federal rate. So just remember that it's probably going to go up and down over time, but usually high yield savings accounts do offer a higher return rate than just a generic savings account at your local bank or institution, as well as just a money market account. Once you set up these two accounts, I suggest that you allocate a certain percentage into your checking account that will stay there, of course, because all of your income is coming into that account. So say you receive, the 100% of your income into that account at the end of the month, maybe you keep 50% or 60% of that total in your business checking account, and then you allocate the other 40% to your savings account, high yield savings account, or money market account. Now, this is important because as a small business, over time, you want to accrue what's called an emergency fund, as we all know. Usually, this is anywhere from about 3 to 6 months of your expenses that are saved up in your business savings account for that rainy day. Next, you probably also want to do a secondary savings account for tax purposes, because as my CPA always says, it's really good to make money on the amount that you're going to be sending away to the government anyway. So I always suggest that once you get your first business savings account set up and you do that for your emergency fund, that you do a secondary tax savings account and you allocate anywhere from about 20 to 30% for tax purposes of your monthly income or net profit into that account. And then finally, if you do have employees, I suggest that you also open up another checking account for payroll purposes only. That way, this is the only account that you have to give your CPA, or is the only account linked to all of your payroll, say, platforms. If you do this as a sole business owner yourself and run payroll, it's easier to just link that account for payroll purposes instead of increasing your risk by linking your entire business checking account. Now, the money that goes into this account, again, is just transferred from your original business operating checking account into your payroll checking account. And you're just going to pay all of your employees and or contractors, if you have those as well, in and out of this account. Side note here, this is also a really good way to keep track of all of your employee expenses and costs. All in all, I encourage you to set up a separate business checking and savings account from your personal accounts. It's going to save you a lot of stress. It's going to ensure that you're not increasing unnecessary risk for your business, and it will lead you towards business success in the future. Now, if you're looking for ways to actually get legally started beyond just your business banking account, please watch the video that just popped up on the screen for the 7 steps to get your business legally legit today.